Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to first time in a minute episode of the Off the Dome Show. I am your host, Thomas Brown Jr. This is going to be a little bit different than what we usually do. Obviously, got a little bit pushed back due to some technical difficulties. But we're here. We're back. Ready to go, ready to have some fun, and let's do the thing, man. Like I said, it's gonna be a little bit different today. Not gonna go off of a scripted setup, if you will. It's just gonna be straight off the dome, and that's how we roll. That's what we do. And that's what we're going to do. But before I get started with today's show, I got to tell you about my friends, our partners from Team MBS Media, Fanatics. Look, man, you see me. I'm rocking my Jalen Hurts jersey. I don't feel like you should be alone. We're getting very, very close to Christmas, Hanukkah, and it's an opportunity to still gift someone a wonderful jersey or any of the NFL merch as we get close to the year's end, season's end. And look, man, shop at Fanatics today, fanatics.com, and use the promo code TEAMNBSMedia. So, again, fanatics.com is today's sponsor for this episode of the Off the Dome Show. And let's have some fun, baby. Wow. This is an interesting time of year. As you can see here, I still haven't had my whole Santa hat together, so forgive me. But This is one of the best times of the year for me personally. I would like to think. Christmas is a couple days from now. We have the New Year. Get ready for everybody to talk about all the different things they're gonna do different this year that they didn't do last year, and the year before that, and the year before that. But This is one of the favorite times of the year for me because it's an opportunity for your loved ones, your family, those who have kids. It's an opportunity for them to enjoy, an opportunity for them to see family that they don't usually see throughout the year. Chance to open some presents, some stuff that they've been asking for, been wanting for a long time. Things of that nature. And just, it's just a lot of fun, a lot of, engagement, especially if you're in an area where there's a lot of snow outside. Talking about a white Christmas, we love to see that. That's something that I've always yearned to see. Probably not happening in San Antonio, but oops. It's one of the favorite times of the year, and I came prepped and ready to go. I have my beloved hot cocoa with me. It's actually pretty good. It's been a pretty good while since I've had hot cocoa. Don't know why. I just never got around to it. But this year, decided to invest in a little bit of hot cocoa for today's episode. Let's go through some comments here. Fields is better than Jalen Hurts. Sure. if that helps you sleep at night, go for it. I'm not even going to entertain that. I think everybody has seen how Hurts has played this year, and it's been spectacular. To go this long without throwing an interception has been very impressive during the Eagles' winning streak, and I think that's enough to warrant him not even tolerating Justin Fields this year. But that's just me. And no, I'm not biased. The stats can prove it and back it up for me too. So that addresses that. But also, there was a game that was on last night. Not going to touch the NBA side of things. There was quite a few blowouts that I was not proud of. We had the Warriors lose by 50,000 points. We had the Timberwolves in Karl Anthony Towns' homecoming, if you will, dropping a 30-20 game, which was something that couldn't have been scripted any better for him. Coming back to Minnesota. So that was that. But I want to leave that to the side for a moment. We had the Broncos and the Chargers play on Thursday Night Football last night. And I got to say, I know Amazon typically gets a bad rap for bad Thursday night games. I'm not going to lie to you. At first, I thought that this was going to be a snooze fest going in, but I was wrong. And the Chargers, Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh found a way to reach down and get a win, which I don't know. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that the Chargers were potentially going to be in the playoffs and possibly win a playoff game, depending on how seedings are set up, I would not have believed you. I would have thought it would have been a year too soon, because I have a lot of faith in Jim Harbaugh, but what he's been able to do with the roster given to him has been none short of impressive. Justin Herbert is awesome. I think anybody who has the doubt of whether he's, in the same class as Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, he's in that class, and he's been in that class for a little bit now. So what he's been able to do, and he proved it again last night, just being able to be mentally tough, make all the right throws, run if he has to. It's just, it's a really good thing to see if you're a Chargers fan, which we always known for the Chargers to lose those type of games. To actually win them is something that we just don't see it coming, honestly. Let me see. Next Thursday night game is horrible. It has Caleb in it. He's a disgrace for the sport. My thing with Chicago is I don't know how it can come across as an attractive job if you're, trying to find a head coach. I don't know how it can come across as a destination worthy of your services. Because, man, the way the organization is set up, a lot of things is going through Kevin Warren, a team president. Kevin Warren actually is one of the reasons why Jim Harbaugh wasn't the head coach of the Chicago Bears this year. Because if Jim Harbaugh took that job, Kevin Warren was going to be out of there. And I think that was going to ruffle a lot of feathers. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. I said it on this very show before the season started that there was a lot of pressure on Caleb Williams to win and succeed this year and going forward. Obviously, I was completely dismissing the fact that he has no one blocking for him, which sucks. But it's one of those things where you just kind of sit there and kind of go, like, what do you do? What do you say? Like, I mean, I don't even. I was telling someone the other day, like, you know, if they got rid of Eberflus before the season started, you know, in the off season, like maybe that would have changed trajectories a little bit. But I don't know what more of a difference it would have made if you had to deal with this offensive line. You know, to lose 8 straight, I believe, is just brutal. And I think whoever decides to take that Bears job is going to be in for a rude awakening, because this is gonna take some patching up for sure. No coach wants to coach that team knowing Caleb's status as a starter is unteachable. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go that far when it comes to Caleb. I just think that Caleb's in a position where it feels like every time he snaps the ball, he has to run for his life, which for any quarterback is going to be a struggle. But it's one of those things where it's like I don't really know what could be easily solved, because it might be one of those cases where if it goes from bad to worse, as if this year is not already bad, you could be looking at guys wanting to get traded, which I know it doesn't sound like a shocker, but, you know, the Keenan Allens of the world, the DJ Moores, you know, guys that you just signed recently, this past offseason, might be looking elsewhere if this continues to spiral out of control. So it's just one of those things, man, where you just got to wonder, like, is it worth having to deal with this foolishness, dealing with the organization, dealing with the front office? I don't know. And I think, you know, ironically, when you look at a game like last night with Herbert and Bo Nix, like, those guys don't have they don't have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson rolling out on the field for them on their respective offenses. You know, I love Cortland Sutton. Ladd McConkey is very, very good as a rookie wide receiver for the Chargers. But outside of those names, like, it's a whole lot of, like, do I know you? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, who does he play for? Sort of thing. And I just thought the way that those guys were able to play last night was impeccable. Going against one of the best defenses in the NFL on both sides of the ball, for both teams, it was just really impressive to see how Bo Nix played. Because, you know, especially after last week, throwing 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, kind of wondering if, you know, how much of a wild card he is. And he played well last night, even in the loss. And Herbert's Herbert. I feel like everybody should just come around to him being that good, that talented. You know, it's kind of a thing that the Chargers do. They do have talented quarterbacks. It's one of those things where if it pans out to them getting deep into the playoffs, which sometimes doesn't happen. But let me see. Everybody's worried about Caleb's body language, while they should be worried about the captain's body language. DJ and Jalen Johnson. I mean, obviously, I I do think, especially in DJ Moore's case, it's frustrating because it's been well documented that he was, in the camp for wanting Fields to stay. The Bears willing, the Bears paying Justin Fields and, having them work on their chemistry from there. And, he wasn't really opposed to Caleb taking the helm, but it was one of those things where after like week 5 and you started seeing him barely get targeted and whenever he did get receptions, it was like late in the third quarter when there was already a blowout. It was rough. It was rough, and it's hard to come back from. And I think that's kind of the struggle that that those guys have right now, where they can say, because they were on that roster last year, that no, grass wasn't greener last year. But I mean, at least in DJ Moore's case, they found a way to give me the ball and to give me the ball often. Now, obviously, you can also make the argument that there was not very many options to throw to outside of him, which is why that was the case. But, that's something that's obviously frustrating for anybody. That's a very solid point, though. I think a lot of people get caught up in the wrong stuff when it comes to the Bears, and that's kind of what it is. Caleb last year in November. This guy is not better than Justin. I feel like it's too soon to tell if Caleb is bad or not. I don't know how much time you want to give him, though, which is kind of the tricky part about rookie quarterbacks. In general, you just don't know how much time you want to give them. Sometimes you can easily tell, before Thanksgiving of their rookie year, if they're worth, giving them the time of day or not, which usually isn't really the case. If you have to question that by the time you get to Thanksgiving, but I don't know. I kind of want to, wait and see how Caleb does next year and the year after, when he gets some hopefully some pieces on the O-line to block for him and some better coaching, because as you can tell, NFL, unlike NBA or MLB, coaching matters. Coaching matters a lot. Coaching determines whether or not you win games or not. And when you don't have the coach, it kind of leads to a lot of losses. And, Matt Eberflus was a guy who didn't have it all together. It was, he didn't have it all together last year with Fields, didn't have it all together the year before. And the Bears were just trying to give him grace because, the defense was not the worst in the league, but I don't know. So it's very interesting. I think the whole Bears situation is very interesting on the outside looking in. Now, if you're a head coach that's trying to look to find a job, I don't know if that's the best fit for you. That's the Bears. I do want to talk about something I saw yesterday that made me chuckle, and it honestly made my day. For those of you that don't know or do know, there was reports through The Athletic about the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, not doing certain trades or making certain roster moves because of his son's intellect on Madden ratings. Now, I don't really know what to say when I hear stuff like that. Like, it's unbelievable, honestly, how certain franchises are run when you hear about them. Like, obviously, when you hear about franchises like the Rams, for example, very well run, the Chiefs, Philly, all things considered, Baltimore, like we don't really hear much about what their process is when it comes to, you know, how they draft, how they scout, how they, you know, construct their rosters, you know, how they, you know, make certain decisions. Like sometimes, you know, we barely hear about that at all. And I feel like this seems to be a reoccurring thing for the New York Jets, where it just seems like everything in the front office leaks out around this time of year, whether it's a head coaching decision or an offensive coordinator change, or, you know, somebody getting fired in the organization. It's brutal, man. It's it's laughable because it's something that you don't expect to hear as a real thing, but, you know, then you realize, like, yeah, this is stuff that was actually happening. Then you hear Woody Johnson. I'm sorry. Yeah, did I say that incorrectly? My bad. I'm sorry. The GM, who got fired this year, one of the things that he said in the article was that he got very tired of having to pander, basically, to teenagers, guys who, you know, just came out of, you know, the dad's nutsack, you know, that are overruling the GM's decision making, which is kind of crazy. But it's one of those things where, like the Bears, you wonder if the Jets is even remotely touchable. Like, I watch Suits, so this phrase is gonna sound a little redundant, but I wouldn't touch that job with a 10-foot pole. Okay, like, it's one of those things where I don't know how people function there. It's so dysfunctional. Let me see. Jets should have never got rid of Rex Ryan. Very charismatic man. He can coach football team. He looks like he might be getting a head coaching job after all, when it's all said and done. I don't know if that ends up being the case or not. But, I mean, you can definitely make that argument. I mean, that guy led y'all to relevance during his tenure. It wasn't always pretty, especially towards the end, but like, you go to 3 AFC championship games, man, in an AFC that had Tom Brady's Patriots that you had to worry about in division, might I add. I don't know. I don't know how you get rid of a guy like that. But maybe it was one of those things where maybe Rex got, you know, maybe tone deaf with making certain changes. He wanted to do things his own way, and that kind of led to the exit, which is kind of sucks, kind of unfair when you factor in just the fact that the Jets were irrelevant before Rex got there. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But it looks like Rex might mess around and be the head coach of the New York Jets again, which is something that, you know, he wanted to do. He wanted to get back into coaching for these past couple of years. You know, tried reaching out to Dallas for a DC job. That was not good, hearing about that. You know, the list really goes on and on, man. So I don't know. I don't know what you can do to really solve all of the Jets' problems, but maybe having Rex Ryan there and having him actually have control with some of the roster construction would probably help matters. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But before we go deeper, we will be having a commercial break. So I'll be right back to talk with y'all some more. Enjoy some commercials from our friends, baby.
In 2006, we founded Yeti Coolers with a simple mission: build a cooler we use every day if it existed. One that was built for the serious outdoor enthusiasts rather than for mass discount retailers. One that could take the abuse we knew we'd put it through, out in the field and on the water. One that simply wouldn't break. We decided early on that production innovation would come from necessity and first-hand experience, not from market research and data analysis. Today, Yeti products perform when it matters most. Whether that be an excursion into the remote Alaskan wilderness, chasing redfish on the Gold Coast, or just getting together with friends in the backyard, we make gear that helps you stay out longer, travel farther, and live harder. # built for the wild.
Streetwear is not dead. The next wave of black fashion comes out of the Bronx, New York. Rich Kid Clothing, picking up where FUBU, Rocawear, and Kyle Kanai left off. Rich Kid is for the next generation of Get Fly fashion heads. Use promo code MELLOW23 for 15% off your next order. And for orders over $100, there is free shipping. Again, use promo code MELLOW23 for 15% off your next order.
All right, welcome back to the Off the Dome show. I am your host, Thomas Brown Jr. here. Well, we got some more news that I didn't see coming. So just this past Wednesday on the Rankings Roundtable show, hosted by yours truly, 8:35 p.m. Eastern time. Just to have that cheap plug out there. I was questioning how the Chiefs were going to manage Patrick Mahomes and his high ankle sprain. And I was under the impression that, look, if you're trying to figure out if he's going to play or not, just sit out this week, play next week, give him some rest, and then go right back at it. And then found out yesterday, apparently he's miraculously healed and he's going to play tomorrow. And I'm not going to lie. Wow. Just to go from that to he's just ready to go. We got Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, saying, hey, sounds good to me. He looks good in practice. It's unbelievable what Patrick Mahomes. I don't know. I don't know if you want to call it routine, luck, just body frame. I don't know. Because if it was anybody else, probably be out for some time. We would have understood, but not Mahomes, man. So I thought that was pretty crazy to know that he's going to be when you watch him tomorrow, he will be playing in that game. Excuse me, which is ridiculous. First name greatest, last name ever. Yeah, man. I mean, at this point, man, I'm starting to it might be one of those things where I might not believe the injury reports when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, because I remember, was it 2 years ago? Yeah, it was 2 years ago when they beat us in the Super Bowl and he was on their way and he had an ankle injury. I don't know if that was the same ankle or not as this time around, but he had an ankle injury in the playoffs. And it was like doom and gloom. almost. And sure enough, like nothing ever happened, came back the following week, acted like he was fine, still gingerly moving, but he was still effective. And then obviously the Super Bowl, he, ran around like he was Kyler Murray, which was, kind of brutal to see as an Eagles fan that was trying to see the Eagles win another Super Bowl during his lifetime. But, man, I don't know. I'm starting not to believe them things no more, man. Like, look, Pat, you got it, man. That's where I'm at. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays tomorrow. And look, it's one of those things where they don't necessarily have to win. They don't necessarily have to win to claim that number one seed, but if you want to knock it out and get out the way, you most definitely can. So there's that. Also, just saw something not too long ago about A.J. Brown also having some sort of a knee issue, but he told reporters that he's playing this week, this Sunday. So hopefully we don't have to worry about him having a little mini tantrum about his targets. But look, man, I saw what he did against the Steelers this past Sunday. It was awesome. It was good to know that the Eagles beat an entire division, which is not something that very many teams can say that they can do, especially when we're talking about one of the toughest divisions in the NFL. Being able to get all of them in the same season is impressive. Some good hot cocoa. Anyways, so we'll look to see how well he does when it's all said and done. It's a division rival. We got the Commanders this week. So I don't know. It's always tricky when we play in division, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Man. TJ Watt for the Steelers looks like he might actually be playing as well, which is kind of crazy because I thought that it might have been one of those issues where he probably wasn't going to see the field for a good little minute. If the Steelers made it deep in the playoffs sort of thing. But it looks like he's going to play. And it looks like with him playing, they're still without George Pickens and Justin Fields. I didn't know that he had an adamant injury, but he's dealing with that, and he's going to be out, and Pickens is going to be out. Which, them not having George Pickens as a deep threat has really hindered their offense, and you saw that this past Sunday. And it kind of changed the trajectory of how the game was going to go. Which is kind of crazy to say because when you think about George Pickens, you don't think about him as like a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown sort of guy. You don't usually think of him in that class. But apparently that's the value that he has to this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. And, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out for the Steelers going forward, for sure. That's the injury list for me. Now, like I said, I really wasn't going to talk much about it because of how bad it was, but there were some good games yesterday as well in the association. We saw the Spurs and the Hawks go to overtime. We saw Wemby do Wemby things, and he was insane. 43 points. The guy, like I said, I'm in San Antonio. The one game I did go to this year, he didn't play, which sucked. But I already knew that he was injured. It wasn't one of those cases where it's like, I'm not going to watch the NBA again because he didn't play. Load management. Nah, it wasn't one of those cases. He was hurt. We knew he was hurt. But I went anyway because I wanted to see Chris Paul play. Always wanted to see Chris Paul play. Got to check that off my list. Always wanted to see SGA play. Cross that off my list. Jalen Williams. Got to cross that off my list. So, list goes on and on. There were some people that, I've always wanted to see. Didn't think I would have the opportunity to see them play live. So that was pretty cool. And solid seats too. Shout out to Game Time. So Wemby, man, I just want to let everybody know, you do know it's only a matter of time before he really pieces it all together, because this guy, this guy can do everything. He had 4 blocks yesterday. Now, obviously, he got postered towards the end, which was kind of brutal. It was kind of a brutal watch. But he's awesome. He's awesome, and the Spurs really do have a good one. Hopefully, the rest of their roster could actually start panning out to center around him, because he's going to need it. But I just think that what he's been able to do this year has been nothing short of impressive. And like I said, man, it wasn't too long ago that he was hurt. So for him to just play as well as he's been playing, it's been impressive to me. Obviously, the Hawks are the Hawks. Seems like, they're trying to wean off of Trae Young a little bit. We've seen a lot more Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels, DeAndre Hunter get more and more involved. But, yeah, man, it was a fantastic game. Seeing that go to overtime, I had underdogs, so I did not get a chance to bet on that game, which kind of sucks. Yeah, underdog. I just want to get this quick little rant out the way. Underdog has this thing where, if you were to try to do a live bet, during a halftime, for whatever reason, sometimes all the games are there, and sometimes they even go as far as to remove the game entirely, which I think is, I don't know if that's on purpose or not. I'm still new to this whole gambling thing. So maybe that's just something that apps always do, sports books always do, and I'm just now getting used to that. But it was like one of those things where I was getting a little pissed off that I couldn't bet on certain games because they just removed them entirely. That was that. Just want to get that tangent out the way. But yeah, man. So you have Wemby and the Spurs beating the Hawks in overtime. Great game. You have the Karl-Anthony Towns and the New York Knicks putting belt to ass to the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. And I like I said at the beginning, I don't think you could have scripted a better performance from him as far as his first game back in Minnesota. 30 points, 20 rebounds. Wow. Just complete dominance. And it was impressive, man. And I think we're starting to get to a point where we're starting to see the Knicks starting to gel a little bit better as time goes on. But apparently that game wasn't as bad as the next game I'm going to talk about, which was the Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, those two teams apparently have a little rivalry that, no one can really describe. other than the fact that, you know, you got the young team who's trying to take the reins of the old guys, if you will. And last night was not so much of a rivalry. I don't think I've ever seen a game where Steph played 24 minutes and did not make a single shot throughout the entire time. It was something that I did not foresee coming, and it happened. And I think the Warriors are starting to spiral out of control a little bit, and it's starting to show. I don't know what it could be because most of their players are healthy. Wiggins played, Kuminga's playing, Draymond, Steph. Like, I don't know what it could be, but, you know, they need to get it together before we look up and they're like not even fighting for the play-in. Because I know we're in December, but we can mess around and see them be in a rebuilding situation real quick, real fast. So that'll be something to keep an eye on for sure. By the way, yeah, what was that last night? Something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was definitely off some 2K My Career stuff for sure. I've had a lot of people talk about why the NBA is not being watched a whole lot, why the ratings are down so much. And I was listening to John Middlecoff. Shout out to John Middlecoff on the Volume. Watch his stuff all the time. And he was sharing about his perception of why it is, and I basically am lockstep with him. He said that basically, man, if the star players aren't going to care, why should I, as the consumer? And you know, I don't blame him. You know, I feel like that's where a lot of people are kind of, you know, basing a lot of their points off of. Because I've seen so many people talking about, you know, we're going to change the All-Star game. We're going to take away the three-point line. And I'm like, what is that going to do? Like, honestly, I don't know what it will take for the players to care more. But that's literally it. You know, you have so many guys who, you know, over the years have, you know, rested and there was nothing going on with them. And those are the guys that I really feel like was, you know, kind of the turning point. And a lot of people credit the San Antonio Spurs and Greg Popovich for, you know, installing that game plan, if you will, of having to rest certain guys throughout the season. But I noticed that when he did that, a lot of those times were when he was at home, which made sense because, you know, hey, like, look, they're at home, they're on a back-to-back, you know, we're just not going to, you know, play them this game or whatever. And that was understood. But when you start seeing guys who are resting themselves and they don't have an injury, you know, but you still see them laughing, joking, carrying on the bench, it's like, as a consumer, you know, especially, you know, someone who paid tickets to see the game live, it gets frustrating. Like, okay, wait. I paid my hard-earned money to get to this arena to watch you play, just for you not to play, and, you know, you're carrying on and, you know, doing whatever on the bench. It's like, you know, it's kind of one of those things where it's a slap in the face. You know, with the NFL, I think they have found a way, despite however many people like to talk about how soft it is and how, you know, these certain penalties aren't, you know, whatever. a lot of people still watch the NFL because their star players care. We have Patrick Mahomes, like I mentioned earlier, where he's hurt and he's fighting to play and he's going to play tomorrow. You don't really see a whole lot of that in the NBA. You have somebody like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I saw something yesterday about him saying that he was going through food poisoning, which I can only imagine what that is like. Never experienced it before. Don't want to find out. I bet it's horrendous. And he messed around and had 14 receptions for 130 yards and a touchdown. Like, those guys are willing to play through a lot of stuff. And when you see that, and when you see the emotion that comes with the game of football and the NFL in general, like, these guys are getting paid a whole lot more money and are sacrificing their bodies a whole lot more play in and play out. So if there was any, if there was ever a sport that, could afford to just be like, hey, I don't want to play today because my body's going through it, kind of don't blame you. But because of the nature of the league, it's like, you kind of have to find a way to push through it if you can help it. Now, if it's one of those things where you just, have a broken leg or, your ankle turns sideways, stuff like that, we get it. You're not doing it. But, if you have like a little hip pointer or, a little bit of a elbow issue, like, get out there and play, And so I think that's kind of the issue with the NBA is that their players just don't care as much. And it's one thing for people like myself to say it, those who are, just, podcasters or those just watching the game to say that, but it shows on the floor as well. There are certain games where I am watching I'm watching guys who just are doing anything. Like, they're kind of like just throwing darts at a wall the entire time that they play. And it's like it doesn't even seem like you want to win this game. Why should I care? Why should I care that this matters if you're not even giving the effort necessary to make me want to care? And that's kind of the issue that the NBA has. And I don't know what you can do to honestly solve it. I mean, you could say maybe add more trash talk, I guess, to add more storylines to it. But I don't know if that's going to do anything, honestly. These guys getting paid a lot more money now. So, if they really want to just sit down and chill out, they got the money power, they got the buying power, if you will, to make that decision, which is unfortunate, but that's the reality of it. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep your eye on for sure. Now, obviously, y'all know that Christmas is right around the corner. This is some great hot cocoa, which it's not really as hot, but that's because it's been sitting here. Don't judge me. Great time of year, opportunity to see friends and family, enjoy one another's company. Especially as, you go from Christmas, you go straight into New Year. It's a lot of fun. But I want to take this opportunity to let people know that this is an opportunity to tell everybody that that you care about, that how much you love and appreciate them. I have a list already that I'm going to go through, and I'm not going to stop myself by any means, because these people in my life have definitely been a major major credit to who I am, why I am the way that I am, and what kind of helps personify me as me. The foolish guy making all the crazy jokes, all the high energy things that you see with all the shows that I do and things of that nature. Before I hopped on here, I was thinking about excuse me, y'all. I was watching a funeral service today, and it was one of those things where it just kind of hits you, like, how do people during this time of year even remotely operate when stuff like that is happening? And it just made me take a step back and just really appreciate a lot of the many people in my life that's really made it worthwhile to push through day in and day out. I was just watching with my girlfriend, and it was rough. It was rough, and I just want to go down this list, if y'all don't mind. Send a quick text to somebody. They're going to need it. They're going to be glad that you sent it. But for me, I'll start here. This cup is from, obviously, the DK and Tree podcast. That is a podcast that I do outside of here. Obviously, life has been throwing a lot of curveballs. So we haven't been doing much stuff lately. But the guy that I do that podcast with, his name is Damon Davis. And that guy, to me, is more than just a guy that I co-host with, a guy that, I talk to here and now and then. He's like a mentor to me. And, he has instilled so much wisdom into me and has helped me in so many different ways that not many of you could even imagine. Like, for starters, me doing this, having this screen right here is not possible without him believing in me and deciding to take a leap of faith and helping making this possible. All of my equipment I've gotten from him. This lovely banner here, he gifted that to me. This jersey, ironically, is from him as well. And I just want to, take this opportunity on this platform to tell him how much I love him. I love you, man. I appreciate you for all that you've done, both knowingly and unknowingly, in my life, in those close to me. Whether you did anything or not, just you having an impact on my life really means the world to me. So just wanted to give him a shout out for that. I wanted to shout out this one right here. I want to shout out my dad. My dad, now obviously y'all know that I'm a junior, so you know that he's a senior. I had to take his name. And for so many years, I always, kind of took it as an opportunity to try to make a name for myself, and try to implant my own legacy, if you will. And I'm working on that. But our relationship has had its highs and lows, and it has to do with many of different factors that, I just won't get into. But at the end of the day, our relationship is stronger than it's ever been before. And I just really appreciate the time that he takes out to hear me rant about the NFL like he did the other day, to check up on me, texting me as often as he possibly could, make sure that I'm all right. Just always being willing to give me the advice that I need, and being there in times where I didn't feel like I didn't deserve to have anybody around me. And I just appreciate his support. So, Dad, I love you. I appreciate you. You're awesome. And I am beyond grateful to be your son and to wear that with pride no matter where I go and what I do. So, love you, man. Also, got to shout out my mama. My mom, see, she is, she's an interesting cat, man. She is the one who's kind of settled me down a little bit over the years. It wasn't always pretty as far as how we've gotten along sometimes, and sometimes we don't see eye to eye, and a lot of that could easily end relationships, but we just have two different personalities that is extremely strong, and they collide sometimes. And I feel like with me being an adult now, I feel like now when I talk to my mom, it's more so me talking to a grown woman, talking to a young man or a man, depending on how she sees it. Hope she doesn't see me as her baby, because that's not the case. But, just her ability to continue to support me, to encourage me, to remind me of things that I typically forget. I'm a forgetful guy sometimes. And my mom always makes mockery of that. And, but she does it all with love. Everything that she does it with love. And she does it for me to be better. And, I could really go on and on about her, but I just really appreciate all that she's done, all the sacrifices that's been made to make sure that I'm able to do what I do. So I really appreciate Mom. I really, really do. I love you, and I appreciate you so much. I got to shout out some friends that are really, really close to me. Isaiah, whenever you decide to watch this, buddy, we were introduced to each other not too long ago. And our friendship, our bond has gotten stronger and stronger as days go by. You're my gambling buddy. We win together, we lose together. Although you did win something. You did win a gamble bet yesterday. I did not. No hard feelings though, because like I said, we win together, we lose together. We've had a lot of in-depth conversations about just different things that's happened in our lives and how it's affected us. And I just really appreciate the bond that we share. And it's pretty cool. It's really cool. So I love you, big guy. You're awesome. And we might mess around and, do an interview or something pretty soon. I don't know. I just appreciate what we're building, and really appreciate it, man. Dominique, one of the women voices in my life, which is a sister of my girlfriend, by the way. Don't get me started. But Dominique, man, I just appreciate how you can make laughter out of a lot of things that could come across as serious. I just really appreciate, the time that you take out to just see the growth that I've made as a young man, as a man, if you will, and really learn to appreciate it up close. So I just really, it just goes without saying, like, just, seeing how I was when I was younger to how I am now, and you haven't changed. You've always treated me right, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. Oh boy. I want to shout out PJ. PJ is one of the reasons why I came up with this last bit of the show, because the reason why the funeral was so hard for me to watch today, because I was thinking about my childhood friend who recently passed away, and his dad, me and him have a tight relationship, and I just wanted to shout him out and let him know that I'm still praying for you, man. I know this time of year is extremely rough. Probably don't want to do a thing, and I don't blame you. But I love you. You know how deep we run. Fly, Eagles, fly. He's my fellow Eagles fan too. But I really appreciate you, man. I know it's rough. I know it's rough for the family. It's rough for me even. But I just really appreciate all that you were able to do for Keneal, and myself and all of my family members actually over the years. So neighborhood friends, neighbors, whatever, we're extremely close, and you really mean a lot to me. So I love you, man. I really do. Last three, actually. Sasha. Now, Sasha is an interesting guy because this guy is, I don't know how he gives me the time of day. I really don't. This is a guy who is doing well for himself. He calls high school games, and since we've met, I share with him my big vision on trying to be a sportscaster and had that to be my ultimate career and what that ultimately looks like. And, every chance he gets, he finds a way to let me know of any opportunity that I can to be able to maximize that. Now, obviously with work, I haven't been able to fulfill those opportunities, but just the simple fact that he thinks of me highly enough to consider even remotely texting me, let alone really considering, what I ultimately want to do really means a lot. I just appreciate you for just being the type of man that you've been to my girlfriend and his mom and just the rest of the family. It doesn't go unnoticed, not on my end. And it's greatly appreciated. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Mama Jones. Not no Mama Rhodes, Mama Jones. Got a shout out to the girlfriend's mom here. she's also seen me grow into the man that I'm becoming, or have become, if you will. And she's always appreciated it. She always loves the fact that I find a way to make her laugh on a consistent basis, no matter what I say. And no, I don't pay her to laugh at every single joke that I make. This is something that she just decides to do because why not? Which is really cool. And I definitely know of all the sacrifices that you've made and continue to do for not just your kids, but for yourself. And it's really cool to see that. And to be a part of that day in and day out. And it's a blessing. So you won't catch me taking that for granted whatsoever. So just wanted to put that out there. And then lastly, Jasmine. Our journey has been very, 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 very crazy. We've experienced some things in life that, we're not proud of, that has affected us in more ways than one, that could have ended a lot of people's relationship. But I just really want to take the opportunity to thank you for you being by my side, continuing to encourage me and uplift me, to continue to feed me, even though there's a lot of times where I don't feel like eating. And no, it's not because she's a bad cook. It's because literally, for whatever reason, my stomach just can't take all the food that she feeds me. She likes doing a lot of big portions, okay? But, just being able to be by my side and being able to support me, and to love on me the best way that you know how and that you can, regardless of what it looks like, regardless of what we go through, really means the world to me. And I thank you so much for considering me and choosing me the same way that I choose you day in and day out. And it's fair to say that my life kind of wouldn't really be the same without you. So I love you. I appreciate all the things that you do and that you say. And just simply who you are as a person, both knowingly and unknowingly. And I just wanted to take this time out to say how much I love you, how much I appreciate you, and what you mean to me in my life. And it's just, you're one of the best things that ever happened to me. So, yeah, just wanted to put this out there so that way, y'all know that this is an opportunity to let your loved ones know that, that you love them, that you were thinking about them, and, you miss them if you're away from them. If you're not, then swing by, give them a hug, let them know how much you appreciate it. Tomorrow's not promised, obviously. But just a simple opportunity to tell somebody thank you, or to just have them recognize how much they mean to you really means a lot. So, yeah. Didn't mean to go out on this note, but it's off the dome, baby. It's what we do. I don't know what else there is for me to say. I'm going to take my hot cocoa. I'm going to enjoy my lovely Christmas tree that is lighting up. Looking at the presents that's going to be filled up under there. And y'all have a good one, man. Seriously. I love y'all. Thank you to all the sponsors of today's episode. We'll be back next Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I know I had to deal with some technical difficulties today, which is why we kind of dialed it back to 2. But, yeah, We are live here, 1 p.m. Eastern time, Fridays, off the dome. It's going to be a little bit different going forward, obviously. I'm planning on trying to implement a little bit of an interview sort of style. So we might have some interviews coming up in a little bit. Look forward to that. Thank you to everybody who commented throughout the show today. Leave a like, share, and subscribe to Team MBS Media. Follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you may be watching, Facebook. Rowan everywhere. We got content for days. So give us a look and give us a follow, man. Greatly appreciate it. Again, you can follow me as you see here, my username here, __ Terrific Tom, __ at the end because it's infinite around here. On X, on Instagram, is where you can find me. I'm a little bit more active on Instagram than X, so bear with me. Yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Share it with your friends and your friends too. And I'm gonna enjoy my hot cocoa. And y'all have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. And we're out of here, baby. See ya. Love ya. Fly, Eagles, fly.